we all know how difficult it has been for a lot of our fans to lose Prince, and it's been very difficult for us as well.
Guten Morgen zu einem ganz besonderen Studio-Frühstück. Und zwar geht es um Folgendes. In den 80ern bin ich mit Prince und seiner Musik aufgewachsen. Das war für mich das Allergrößte. Und jetzt, vor ein paar Tagen, ist was ganz Besonderes passiert. Ich habe nämlich eine neue Version der Facebook Live-Anwendung ausprobiert. Bin live gegangen und wer kam da vorbei in meinen Live-Chat? Der Keyboarder von Prince and the Revolution, Matt Dr. Fink, mit dem ich auch vor 10 Jahren mal ein paar Produktionen zusammen gemacht habe. Wir kennen uns also auch ganz gut und sind sozusagen befreundet. Daraus hat sich ein einstündiges Interview ergeben, was ich jetzt nochmal zusammengeschnitten habe. Der Grund, wieso ich nochmal editiert habe, ist der, dass die Soundqualität leider ziemlich furchtbar ist, vor allem von meiner Sprache. Ihn versteht man eigentlich ganz gut, aber ich will euch das Interview nicht vorenthalten. Deswegen bitte genießt es heute ein Studio-Frühstück-Special, mein Interview mit Matt Dr. Fink, dem Keyboarder von Prince and the Revolution.
I'm in a absolutely 100% spontaneous chat with Matt Dr. Fink, known as the keyboard player of the band The Revolution, which worked alongside Prince during his most exciting phase from the early 80s to the late 80s. If you want to correct me, please do.
That is correct. It was like 1978 through 1990 is when I worked with Prince.
Yes. How are you doing? You're in Minneapolis right now?
Yes, I'm sitting in my living room at home at the moment. Sorry,
Fantastic.
I kind of see the little bit of the kitchen behind me, but yeah, just hanging out this morning. I was relaxing and having my morning coffee.
I was just going to ask what kind of coffee you like.
Well, we have this. I think it's a Starbucks brand called Komodo Dragon.
With foamed milk, like a latte or pure?
No, we just do it pure with a little bit of cream in there, a little half and half, and that's it. And some special, sugar in the raw, a little bit of sugar.
Okay, now how many do you need a day?
Oh, I just drink in the morning, and that's it.
Ah, okay. I think I'm on 3 a day.
I do it in the afternoon occasionally, but not regularly.
The people can see on the Facebook feed that Matt has joined, and then of course Euere Magnet, some very well-known German musicians, like a super famous drummer who's just joined, who's very excited, and I know they're all fans of your work. It's Dirk, and there's Martin Haas, and if Martin Haas is the Martin Haas that I know, then he is a legend. Launched Xavier Naidoo. Have you heard about Xavier Naidoo?
No, I have not.
3P, Moses Pelham and his crew. It will be interesting to see if the next versions of the Facebook app will allow more people to join. And then one day we will go completely virtual reality. We have either glasses or contact lenses, and then we'll just sit at home, join a virtual party, and have 100 people in the room virtually. In a decade, this will be so natural to us, and there will be a point when we transition to holding a phone to just living it. I don't know. We will probably transplant technology inside our bodies or something. Who knows?
Yeah, you're right about that, because the futurist sound guy, Ray Kurzweil, I don't know if you've read any Ray Kurzweil books. He was definitely predicting a lot of this many, many years ago, what you're describing. So some people think that's going to be happening soon. Yeah, I'm not so sure I like it or not. I don't know. I'm not sure if I want to have an implant yet. But
I think, already 50% of the people live on their phone all day. If I go on a train or bus or even in a car, everybody looks into their phone all the time.
Oh, I know that, and
right?
It's like. Yeah, absolutely. I'm guilty as charged. I do the same thing. And when I'm at work, I've got the phone going and the computer all at the same time. I'm an Apple user, and so you've got the phone synced up to the computer, and it's all working together and multitasking, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good because it means more communication. I mean, remember when we sat in our rooms, in our childhood? I wasn't bored because I had music, but we didn't have a lot of friends. We were happy if we had one or two friends who would play music with us, in the room.
Absolutely.
Maybe this is why we became musicians, so, we could communicate with people.
Absolutely. Yeah, no question. Yeah, I couldn't wait to play records in my room on my little portable machine. That was exciting.
Yeah, it was you and the record player, right? That was the party.
Yeah, I wore. Yeah, I wore the records out. They got worn out. Yeah. I played them so much. Yeah.
So in that respect, it's kind of strange to have people say, "Oh, the young people with their phones, they don't communicate." Bullshit, right?
No, it's not true. That's not true. They're communicating. Yeah, they're communicating through their phones, and I know for a fact my son, who's 21, he's about to turn 22 here in about a week, next week.
Yeah.
And he moved out to Los Angeles, and he's in the music industry, of course, out there.
Great.
Yeah, he's out there doing some things, and which I'll talk to you about later if we get some time. And they use FaceTime for everything in California, whereas here in Minneapolis, very few people I know like to use the FaceTime and talk to each other unless I make them do it. But over there, that's all they use. They don't even go audio anymore. Everybody's talking to each other like this, face to face, which I think is really great, and it's better because it's more personable. And I just saw an old friend get on board here who I think he lives in Frankfurt still, and toured with Blue Man Group for many years as a drummer, David Anania. He's on here and saying hello to me.
He's a friend. We have him as a friend in common. I met him in Berlin, and he's a dear friend. He's an awesome guy. I absolutely love him.
Great. I was going to ask you if you knew him. That's wonderful that you guys connected. So, hi, Dave. Great to hear from you. And is he still in Frankfurt?
He's in Berlin, actually. And
he's in Berlin now. Berlin. Okay.
Yeah.
My fault. My bad. I did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Blue Man Group. The Blue Man show is going on in Berlin. And I'm actually starting to hate Mark Zuckerberg for not making it possible to bring him on this nice chat now. We could have a nice tea time now.
I'm going to look at who's listening here for a second and just say hello to a few people, because there was another drummer that came on earlier who's from Minneapolis. His name is John Haga. I've known him since I was 12, 13 years old. He's a great guy. He owns a great drum store here in Minneapolis. Dick Cepeda, he's asking me what my dog's name is because the dog walked by behind me on the couch here earlier, and the dog's name is Phoebe, if you want to know Dick. Dick is a huge Prince fan who lives here in Minneapolis. I've met him several times. James McWhorter, okay, he's a Citibank guy here in Minneapolis. He met him years ago. Really great guy. He's really high up in the investment business. There's Bongo John Haga again. Hang on. Janice Araya. Hi, Janice. Valenti Funk. Sorry, I just want to say hi to all these peeps because they're great for fans. Deidre Johnson, Elijah Arp. Okay, hang on. I'm going to move back forward again. Marvin Maurice asked me, do I go to the CES show to show our products off? And no, I have not done that yet, but I will, because I've only been working with MobileSoft, which is the company I work for now here in Minneapolis, since January 1st of 2016. It's a little over a year and a half I've been working with them. And eventually I will go to the CES show and show off our stuff. I did go to the NAMM show last January, and that was nice. Yeah. There's Jana von Bank has joined here. She is the mother of the lead singer from my son's band. Dee Holly down in Houston, he's a singer that I worked with at one time. Bob Papo. Okay, see now Bob Papo is probably one of the biggest Prince fans you'll ever meet. He travels everywhere just to see. When Prince was around before he passed, Bob would go to shows all over the country, all over the world. And since the Revolution has been back together, he's appeared at many shows since we've been on the tour. He's just a wonderful guy and a huge supporter. I just want to give him a big shout out. Hi, Bob. Here's another guy. Oliver Rosenberger says he's the greatest Prince fan. I don't know Oliver, but hi, Oliver. Thank you. I'm sure you're a great fan. I love you. Okay, Jeff Miller is on here, who's from Huntsville, Alabama, also a Prince super fan. And he has been a major supporter of us for many, many years, and we love him. I met him through Des Dickerson. Des Dickerson knew him before I got to meet him. Here's a woman, Deidre Johnson. Thanks, Matt. I was at Celebration 17. Good to see you. And that's it. And Bob Papa says, I'm crying. You're all so worth it. Bob, you're such a sweetheart. We love you. Thank you so much. So there we go. We're at the bottom of the list now, and I've said hi to everybody. Thanks for listening in, everyone.
That's fantastic. And this only proves what I knew all along, that you're a people person and you really care for the people. Knowing your fans, all of them, 2 million people personally by name, right?
Yeah. Oh, and more people coming in. Oh, here we go. Jeff Miletish. Now, I hope I pronounced his name correctly. There's a guy, he's a Minneapolis supporter of the Minneapolis music scene, and he is a photographer, and he comes out to every show that I participate in, whether it's with Prince and the Revolution or other artists I work with here in the Twin Cities when I'm out playing live. He's always there taking pictures, and he supports the music scene in general. Yeah, he's a great guy. Oliver Rosenberger. I'm sorry, go ahead. You want to say something, Mark?
No. I'm just commenting with random, fantastic, very good, great. It's good. I mean, you guys, you can do shows all day long, right? Yeah,
and it's really interesting. I know all these people that are coming on board here to say hi today, most of them. Mm-hmm. And the Revolution, I just want everyone to know how much we have enjoyed this tour so far this year, and what just an incredible time we're having. And the fans have been so generous and so supportive, and we're just going to keep giving as long as we can do it. The plan from the band is to stay together for a while now, for a year. We want it to be as long as we can do it, till we're, really old. So that's all I can say.
There's no reason to stop.
No. And we all love each other, and we love you guys. And we all know how difficult it has been for a lot of our fans to lose Prince. And it's been very difficult for us as well. And that's why we're giving back now to everybody. We really, really appreciate everybody so much. And it's been hard. It's been a healing process for everybody. And there's a guy named Mark Doty just said, "Hey Matt, you and I have a number of mutual friends, but we've never met. I just moved back to the Twin Cities, so maybe we'll connect." He says, "I also worked at Paisley Park in 1995, and that's it." Okay, hi Mark. Drop me a line on Facebook when you get a chance. I remember Ingrid, though. I've seen her on Facebook. Hi, Ingrid. You just sent us A lot of Purple Hearts. Thank you.
It's interesting. There's a circle of German producers and songwriters, and we're all connected on Facebook. And we comment on each other's posts randomly. And I know that they all have one thing in common, that Prince and the Revolution, you guys were probably the main force behind so many people getting started. Writing, singing, producing, playing instruments. I mean, the numbers actually so much bigger than what I thought back then. History proved me right. I knew that it was you guys were such a strong force and cultural influence back then. Obviously, the name Max Martin rings a bell. You know who he is, and I have read it. I have read an interview with him, and he said in an interview that he had a circle of friends, and they were tearing every Prince song apart, every chord progression, every sound, the bass for so many people, for everything that happened afterwards.
Yeah, it was really an amazing just thing for me to be there observing this man do his work. I had my contribution, and yes, I had, whatever few songs I have some co-writes on with him, but as a writer and producer, just the sheer amount of work he did, his dedication to his craft is like really extremely rare. I mean, we all strive for this as artists. We want to be working on our craft every day and hours, and a lot of us do. A lot of the people we know do that. But I don't know what it is about Prince. He didn't sleep, He just he had so much music coming out of him. He couldn't contain it. He couldn't get it out fast enough. When I knew him, he was maybe getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night, and then the rest of the time was spent in the studio or rehearsing with the band and working with us and getting ready for tours and then going on. And he didn't like really staying on the road longer than 6 months at a time, which was pretty long time, but most groups would stay out for a year a lot of times when they'd work an album. But he wanted to move on to the next thing. But like when we went on a rain tour, Around the World in the Day album was already in the can. It was done and ready to come out. So he was always ahead of himself, and he couldn't get it out fast enough. And as we all know, the amount of music that's sitting in his vault, his archive vault, is astounding. That's waiting to come out. I think there's 3 to 4 albums that the Revolution recorded with him that are sitting in storage that have never seen the light of day as well. And hopefully the family will, put that out, some of it, as time goes on. So anyway, just thought the fans would like to hear all that. But he's astounding. He's an astounding artist. No question.
And what I wanted to say is, I have on my Facebook probably out of the 5,000 people, it's probably 4,000 musicians. I can put up a post on my Facebook and I can say that I believe Prince was the biggest talent in history of mankind. I don't think anybody will disagree, but I think this was only one part of the formula, because he also put in the work like no one else.
It's very true. He loved the fans. He loved his music. He put his heart and soul into it. And it's just really a great loss that he left us so soon.
I mean, and obviously, I think the work ethics is probably something that also has to do with how you grew up, education, and how big your goals are. This is something I talk a lot with my own team. Your goals have to be so big and so sky high that you cannot reach them, because otherwise, at one point, you're at the plateau and you're like, oh, I'm good now. I don't need to go any harder. And I'm wondering, if in theory there was a second person on Earth that had the same talent as Prince.
I think there's some people that possess that. I will tell you that before Prince, there's an artist who I met and became friends with by the name of Todd Rundgren, which you all have heard of. You all know him.
Yeah.
And he was also a one-man band in the studio like Prince, and and did all that. And he's a great producer in his own right, and appreciated his songwriting quite a bit. So, when I met him, he was very respectful of Prince and felt like Prince was also, one of the greatest artists of all time. And, I have to really, growing up with my own influences from, people like the groups like the Beatles and so forth, who were huge influence on many people as well. So I have to say that people like the Beatles were a huge influence on me, like we are to other songwriters like Prince was. So, and of course, Prince was, he grew up with James Brown as a huge influence and other R&B artists of the day. And, he took a lot of that and fused it together to create his own sound. So everybody's influenced by other people as we're growing up and as we move forward. So, but he is one of the greats of all time. There's no question. He is the Mozart of, no pun intended, Mark, but he is like one of the greatest people from that era. And, maybe we'll see the likes of him again. I don't know yet, but at some point in every generation, you do get these prolific people, and just to look at one more artist who is prolific as Prince and who came from Minnesota was Bob Dylan. Granted, he's a folk artist. It's a whole different style of writing and music, but as a poet, he was incredible and was awarded a Nobel Prize recently for his work.
Yeah.
And, and I had the opportunity in the last 10 years to work with many of the musicians who recorded the Blood on the Tracks album, which was recorded here in Minneapolis. And a lot of them have been getting together yearly just for a couple shows. And they just do Prince Dylan music. And they brought me in to play live with them. And it was like a new learning experience for me to work on Dylan music and see what a great lyricist he is, and revisit that.
Fantastic.
So yes, there's so many great artists out there. But again, top 5 Prince, he's in there, no question, in the history of the music, pop music world.
When the drum machine entered his world, then he played the drum machine like a master. And this is something I actually put in my book about mixing, that he started tuning the drum instruments to the key of the song. So it would be really interesting to see how a talent of this level would jam along with technology. And part of it I probably answered myself, because Prince, during his lifetime, seen a music production transition into computers.
I think that they would probably do well with it, And I know that Prince was beginning to embrace it in his last several records, and he was working with younger producers at that time, and which I found surprising that he actually had a guy whose name escapes me at the moment co-produced one of his last albums and allowed someone else to come in and take more control from him, which was very surprising to me that he did that. So I thought that was generous of him to do that later in his career, and almost kind of mentoring somebody and allowing them to do that for him. So really cool that he had opened up to that level. But back when Pro Tools was first kind of happening, or sequencing, when sequencing first came in the 80s, like with Digital Performer and stuff like that, I was using it, and I went to Prince and I said, hey, check this out, because I was doing a lot of MIDI sequencing at home, and he just didn't want to embrace it. He didn't think he needed to do that. So he kind of rejected that for a while.
He did jam with the first Fairlight system, right?
Yes, a little bit, but he didn't use it as a sequencer, really.
Oh, okay.
He just used it as a sound source. He used it as a sampler and a little bit for the synthesis capability. But no, he was definitely not a proponent of sequencing, except very minimal for live use, which sometimes we had to do, and that was it.
Yeah.
But later on he embraced it as he needed it, you know. So I'm going to go backwards. There have been some questions from a few people. So Dirk Liebenguth, we talked to him already. You know him. Oh, now Bob Papo asked me, did I ever fly on the Concorde with Prince? No, I did not have that opportunity. I know that Jerome Benton from The Time did once, probably, and I don't know if Lisa and Wendy did. If they did, I'll have to ask them. Here's a question from Joby Rogers, who is a Michael Jackson impersonator and does Michael Jackson shows around the U.S. as a live performer. I met him a little over a year ago when I was out doing my travels playing. He's asking me if we could only release one Prince song to the world and only one, which would it be? That's not fair, Joby. That's too tough. That's not a good question, Joby. I'm not going to answer that. Too hard. Maybe When Doves Cry. It's about as far as I can take that one. That was a huge song for him. Bob Papo's telling me that the producer that Prince used was Joshua Welton, who is married to the drummer from Third Eye Girl. My buddy Marty Harris joined in this. He's watching this. Hi, Marty. Marty is one of my old dearest friends from childhood. We went to school together, known each other for years, and he's an amazing artist in his own right as a painter, you know, and doing, in fact, he's always showing his stuff in galleries around the Twin Cities. Great guy. Did a lot of commercial work, excellent graphics artist. Shout out to you, Marty. I'll have to get in touch with you again soon. And then Dirk says, do you have a personal story with Prince that you'd like to share? A personal Prince story. Well, there's quite a few of those, which I've shared over the last year or so. I've been doing so many interviews to help promote our tour and all that, and doing interviews even previous to that. But one thing about Prince that I loved more than anything else was his sense of humor. He shared his laughter with us all the time and was always being very funny. Depended on the day. Some day, you know, he'd come to rehearsal, he'd be very serious all day, and there wasn't a lot of humor in there because he was concentrating on getting ready for a tour that day and that week or whatever he was doing. But there was always humor interjected at any given moment. And trying to think of a funny thing that he did one time. Oh, he in the early years, he wanted to play a joke on the local music critic here in Minneapolis for the big newspaper here. He was going to come backstage and interview the group, and he said, "Okay, guys, I want you to play a joke on him, practical joke. We're gonna be starting the interview, and then a couple of you are going to come in and get angry about something on the food table, like you're not happy with the cold cuts or something's wrong. They didn't give you the right items in the rider for the tour, and then you're going to start get angry, and then you're going to take the table and throw the table over and just start tearing the dressing room apart while I'm sitting there doing the interview to see what his reaction." Kind of like candid camera. You know how they do candid camera stuff, because it was all going to be on camera. So we did that. We played this practical joke on the music critic. His name is John Bream. And it was hilarious watching that unfold. So that was the kind of humor. He loved practical jokes.
Credit to Jimmy Kimmel, who brought the ping pong stories to light. Have you seen that?
Oh, what's the ping pong? No, what's that? What did he bring? Prince stories? Ping pong Prince?
Oh, it's on YouTube, and you have to watch it. Prince challenged Jimmy Kimmel on the ping pong table, and Prince smashed him.
Okay. See, I used to play ping pong with Prince, by the way.
So, and how did it pan out?
He didn't realize I was a great ping pong player, so I used to beat him from time to time. We were pretty equal. Now, here's the thing. I just had the fortune to meet with and see and perform in Minneapolis just last week. I met Dave Chappelle for the first time, the comedian, and I was able to talk to him after the show and tell him how much I loved his skit that he did with Prince, playing basketball.
Yeah.
With, with Eddie Murphy's brother, Charlie Murphy story, and just hilarious. And of course the Rick James skits, which I absolutely fell in love with. So, because we were, one of our first tours was opening for Rick James. So we got to know Rick, and he did such an excellent job portraying Rick James in those skits. So shout out to him too. Watch the New Girl episode with Prince, says Dirk Liebenguth, which I have seen. That was very good. I really enjoyed Prince doing that. Hang on. Any other stuff before that? Do you have a favorite Prince album or song that you feel has been underrated or misunderstood? This is Joby Rogers again asking that. An underrated Prince song. Wow. Probably there's a number of those out there, but who am I to judge? I mean, it's all beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right, guys? I will tell you, when I went to the CD release party at Paisley Park for the Rainbow Children album back in, I think it was the year 2001 or 2000, it was right around there. I was highly impressed with that record because I felt that he had gone to another level as a musician. Technically, I felt it was really, really good in that respect. Some people didn't appreciate the record because of the way that the way it was done from a production standpoint. But I felt just him as a player on that record was amazing, and I liked most of the songs on it. So that's all I can say about that one. Just in my opinion. And then from that point, going forward, he's always strived for perfection and bettering himself as a musician all the way through his career.
What fascinates me most is, I think, the work ethic, and it would be really interesting to have you describe how a random day working with Prince, tour preparation, whatever, because every story I hear, he was the first in the studio and the last to leave. And that would be interesting because I think that's the one point that when we talk about talent, we also have to talk about the work ethics as well.
I agree. The only thing I can say is I don't necessarily encourage young people to burn the candle too hard. I mean, you do need your sleep. I felt that maybe Prince should have at times not burn the candle so hard by he'd go day in and day out with that pace of 4 hours of sleep a night. And I wasn't with him all the time, so maybe he was getting a decent night's sleep, but I think it affected him at times. I think I noticed that could wear you. You got to be careful and not burn yourself out. Here we go. The guitar player by the name of Billy Franzi here in Minneapolis just joined in. He plays with a renowned group called Mambo's Combo here in Minneapolis. And, people like Michael Bland, the drummer who worked with Prince for many years, he plays with them still. So, and a lot of great musicians have played with that group that tour nationally with different artists, and including Billy himself. So I just wanted to give him a quick plug. Oh, Kevin says, thanks for the plug here, bro. You're welcome, Kevin. I'll be seeing you in Los Angeles, hopefully September 4th when the Revolution plays there over Labor Day weekend coming up. Thanks, Billy. Billy just said I was looking good.
You look excellent.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you. Joby Rogers, how do you carry the heritage and legacy of the Revolution forward through all of the years and keep it fresh and relevant for yourself as well as the new fans you've connected with? Well, now that we're back on the road, what we're trying to do more than anything is to recreate the original album arrangements, and for the most part, we're trying to stay true to the sounds that were on those records and the arrangements as best we can. Of course, we're modifying a little bit, doing transitions and stuff. But one of the biggest complaints from fans was that, Prince's catalog was so big that when he would go on tour, he would do too many medleys and give you short versions of songs and then just move on to the next thing. So we're trying to really give most of the whole songs to everybody now. That's part of it, and also to stay true to the music. And now the revolution, we're beginning to talk about doing some original music to release, and also we want to be working with Prince's estate, and there's a couple songs from the Roadhouse Garden album on there, with more to come, I hope. Okay, Mark, anything from you you'd like to say? Go ahead.
Yeah. This one is for my studio people. I want to know, what's your range of keyboards and setup that you're bringing on tour at the moment?
Okay. Well, it's very streamlined, actually, and easy for everyone. I have a Korg Kronos, which I really like quite a bit because it recreates analog machines pretty well, and it also has some. It's super clean sounding to me. It's just really, really good. I do like the Yamaha motifs, which I've used as well, but I'm not using a motif really, except for a backup keyboard, which is the bottom keyboard is a motif, and then the upper keyboard is the Korg, and then the motif is triggering what's called the OP-X Oberheim plugin by Sonic Projects, which is a company that's based in Germany, and I've been using that plugin for quite a while, and I've been able to recreate all the Oberheim patches I used to use. I do have an OB8 in my possession here in Minneapolis, which I've used live as well when I can. I do bring it occasionally when I don't have to travel too far away from Minneapolis, but. So I'll use the combination of the real Oberheim and the plugin, and I really get very close to the original sounds using the plugin. They did OPX people Sonic Projects did a great job recreating the Oberheim sound.
Did you go and then create the patches for specific songs so they sound very much alike? Yeah.
Yes, I did. Absolutely. And I had all those patches on my Oberheim already programmed on my OB8. And then I just brought that out and compared and and created them so that they got as close as possible. One more thing I'll say about that is that one thing that Oberheim did back in the day was they would give you a great palette of sounds to start with. And often Prince would use those, but he would tweak them. He would edit them and make some changes to them, and then he would create new ones as well. Yeah, all that, or just the timbre of something and tonal quality. So yeah, we did that a lot, and there were some patches he did create from scratch, as well as myself. And so that's how we did things there. But, anything else I need, occasionally I'll need something that's like a DX7 sound or, and we just get that by using the DX7 plugin too, as well. So I'm using Logic Mainstage as well in my computer. So that way you can have different plugins lined up besides the Oberheim.
You have a MacBook Pro on stage with you? Okay.
I have a MacBook Pro right on stage, and along with an A to D interface. I'm using Focusrite for the live show right now. And but it's easy.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, it's been 10 years. Nobody knows we did some work together for the German market.
That's right.
I very much enjoyed it. The legendary productions and times in my book. And so I'll let you go, do some work, earn some money. I'll do the same here.
Yeah, I'm not in the office today because we moved this week, so there's a little break just today while they're moving office furniture and stuff like that. And I'm working from home today. So
cool.
And again, if anyone has the ability to go to mymymusic.com, please check it out. That's our new music streaming service. And mobile.net for audio products. And I'm currently working for mobilesoft.com here in Minneapolis.
I'll put that in the comments. And also one final question. What's the best way if somebody wants to get in touch with you?
Facebook's great. Yep.
Are you doing any Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter? Are you into that?
Yeah, I do. I get on Twitter occasionally, but I really like Facebook, prefer Facebook. I've done just a little bit of Snapchat. I do have a new Dr. Fink, fairly new, not extremely new, but Dr. Fink fan page on Facebook. So there's like the Matt Fink personal page and Dr. Fink fan page. Unfortunately, my personal page has reached the 5,000 limit.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to add people there unless I delete people and then add friend requests,
People can follow you. I mean, I think it's one setting. So you have your 5,000 friends and then still an endless number of people can follow your posts and they can also get in touch with you. So
that is correct.
The only one thing that you cannot do with your personal page is put ads up and do all of the stuff that you could do as a company. That's the big difference.
And also go to the Revolution page on Facebook that's up now.
Yes.
And you can see where we're performing and catch some. We've also got some Facebook Live stuff posted on there from past shows. And you can communicate with me there. You can send me messages there as well because I check it all the time.
Matt knows all his fans by name personally. Yeah. And this chat was proof that he really cares for people and the fans.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off. Right. Mark, thanks again.
Cool.
Take care.
Have a great day.
Everybody.
Thanks again.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
That was Fink, legendary keyboard player of Prince and the Revolution. And this is what happens with technology. I randomly wanted to check out new features on the Facebook ad. Along comes Matt Fink, and you also met my intern, Mich.